Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Abiola. In today's tutorial, we're learning how to fix a turtleneck for this type of top. Everything relating to this top has already been uploaded: the cutting, the sewing, as well as fixing of the sleeve of this top. I'll have them linked in the description box as well as in the comment section, so you can check for the link in those places. In order to fix this type of turtleneck, the first step is to take your round neck measurement. Just take a look at how I'm taking mine. Put your tape around your neck. Take a look at how mine is looking behind. Then, one important thing, put one of your finger into it this way so that it's not too tight. Okay? After that, then go ahead to note the measurement you have after doing that. And what I have on mine is 15 inches. Some persons could get 15.5, some can even get 14 inches, some even 13.5. So make sure you measure yours and use what you got. For me, my neckline circumference is 15 inches. I'm going to go ahead to note that, and now I'm going to write my front neckline. We have the front neckline and the back neckline, so now I'm going to note what I have on my front neckline to enable me draft this properly. So I'm going to bring the top I've already made that I want to attach the neckline to, the turtle neckline to. So I'm going to bring that and measure it right now. The first step is to match the two front necklines together. Okay, and also match the shoulders together because it's supposed to be equal. Okay, so from there I'm going to use my tape rule to take the measurement from this part, from the front neckline to the shoulder, and what I have there after taking my measurement is 5 inches. Remember, we put two front necklines together, which implies that the measurement there is 5 times 2, which implies that our front neckline is 10 inches. Another way you can decide to take your measurement for proper understanding is to measure the first front neckline, then go ahead to measure the second side. Okay, so what I got after measuring both is 5. So you add the 5 together, 5 plus 5, which gives you 10 inches. Okay, just use any of the methods. So that implies that the back neckline is 5 inches. You subtract 15 from 10, which gives 5. Okay, we can't measure the back neckline in this instance, so the back neckline is 15 minus 10, which gives 5 inches. The next step is to try to get a perfect straight line. That was what I was trying to do. Just make sure you rule out a perfect straight line, after which you'll go ahead to note the midpoint of that straight line. After noting the midpoint of the straight line, you're going to label this line. You're going to put front and back. This is the back part and this is the front part for me. After doing that, the next step is to mark half of the back neckline. My back neckline is 5 inches. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, and that was what I marked. Then for the front neckline area, the front neckline is 10. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5 inches. This is just me trying to do the calculation. Okay, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to go ahead to mark 5 inches from the midpoint. Can you see? Knowing that our neckline is not straight, that it's a little bit curvy, we're going to go up by ½ an inch from this front neckline, and I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect from that point to the midpoint. The next step is to determine how wide you want your turtleneck to be. For me, I want 1.5, and that's what I've always used for a lot of persons, and it fits and it works. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 1.5 inches from beginning to the end. After that, I'm going to proceed to connect all the points. At this point, I'm going to proceed to note the front and back on the main pattern because we're going to be cutting off the other part, so we don't want to be confused. At the midpoint area, to prevent gaping on the neckline, I'm going to go in by 0.5 inches. I actually did 0.25, but from the feet, I wish I had done 0.5. So please go in by 0.5 inches on that point to prevent gaping. Okay, so I'm going to connect from that point to the edge, and I will proceed to cut out at this point because we're basically done. Now I'm going to be using 2 arrows to show the part that we're going to be cutting on fold. So I'm going to go on my fabric now and cut out. When cutting your turtleneck, it is best to cut on bias form, but if you don't have enough fabric like me, you can always cut the normal way. Because I didn't have enough fabric, I'm going to go ahead now and position my fabric and my pattern the normal way, but this is the right way to cut your turtleneck. It is better this way. Okay, so the first step is to place a little little bit of fabric unfold, and I'm going to place my pattern on top of it and pin it down. After pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead to add 0.5 inch round this pattern, okay, because we'll be needing the 0.5 inch seam allowance to stitch the turtle neckline. After adding the 0.5 inch seam allowance, I'll proceed to cut out, and because I need two of these, I decided to cut them together. Okay, we need two pieces of this turtle neckline, so I'm going to cut both of them together, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so once I'm done, the next step is to unpin everything and then note the midpoint of the both of them. The notch marks will also help you note the down part of the pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead to iron a very soft interfacing on this fabric. I've gone ahead to do mine, and here is what I have. Now I'm back to the work table. The next step is to make a little bit of fabric that you're going to use as your buttonhole. For me, I have this rope that I use for my buttonhole anytime I want to make buttonholes. You can use this, you can use your fabric, and you can also use bias to actually make this. Okay, but for me, I just love to use this. So what I'm going to do now is to cut out two pieces of this. Each of the elastic rope I cut out measures about 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do now is to mark 0.75 inches from the top and 0.75 inches from the down part, and that's the point I'm going to place them. I'm going to fold them into two and place them on each point. I'll fold the second one as well and place them on that point that I marked. And now I'm going to go ahead to stitch them down, and I'll show you what I have. So I've gone ahead to stitch them down on my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do now is to place this one on top of it, just like you see me doing, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch using 0.5 inch seam allowance round the point, just like I'm showing you, round like this. And here's what I have. I've gone ahead to stitch. Now what I'm going to go ahead to do is to get rid of the excess allowance on each side, just so that when I flip it to the right side, it's going to relax properly. So after doing that, I'm going to proceed now to flip it to the right side. Once it is flipped to the right side, I will just head over to my ironing table to iron it flat. I have gone ahead to iron mine, and here is what it looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead to fix it. First things first, I'm going to notch the neckline just to know the midpoint, just to note it properly, and I'm going to go ahead to fix it. First things first, pick the turtleneck and place it on the wrong side of the neckline. You're starting from the wrong side of the neckline and start from the midpoint. That's why you notched. So I'm going to go ahead to pin it. You keep pinning and stop at the shoulder. Where the front shoulder stopped, that is where you are going to stop your pinning. So make sure your pin stops at that point, because that's where you're going to be sewing to first. Now I'm going to go ahead to also pin from the midpoint again, and I'll pin till I get to the shoulder of the front neckline, and that's where I am going to stop pinning. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to stop my pinning at this shoulder point. I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and stitch using 0.5 inch seam allowance. So guys, I've gone ahead to stitch, and as you can see, here is what I have. Okay, then now at this point, it's time to close the neckline. As you can see, I stopped at the shoulder. Make sure your stitch stops at the shoulder. Look at the other side. I stopped at the shoulder as well. Make sure your stitch stops at the shoulder as well. Now it's time to close the neckline with a simple top stitch. Okay, so what you can do at this point is to go ahead to pin everything from beginning to the end before you head over to your sewing machine to just put that top stitch. Okay, so make sure that when you're stitching on your sewing machine, you ensure that everything relaxes before you stitch. You have to stitch very closely to the edge, okay, and make sure every angle is relaxed. When you're closing the neckline, just know that you're going to stitch about 0.5 inches of the back neckline with this. This does not matter, just make sure it's relaxed whilst closing. Okay, when you're done, go ahead to fix your buttons, as you can see, and here's what I have when I was done, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Lastly, do not forget to subscribe.